Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to yet another edition of the dceu Daily. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a DC fan. What a time to be a fan of the DC Snyderverse. Right now, and this morning when I woke up, I had this feeling of pride inside of me. What we've achieved, 5 million views for Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. A first official trailer. Amazing, amazing. And this is the beautiful Henry Cavill as my favourite superhero, Superman, in the black costume from said trailer. And here's the beautiful Momoa as Aquaman. And of course, Jason was handing his support on social media yesterday as well as the wonderful Gal Gadot merely hashtagging Zack Snyder's Justice League is more than enough, and we know where her loyalty lies, which is absolutely fantastic. And I think that Zack quote tweeted her, calling her a queen or something. She absolutely is. And Zack had something to say yesterday. Listen to this. This is a man who is so grateful for anyone who helps, works with him, or supports him. This is from Vero, his account over on Vero. Thank you to the amazing artists and crew from Scanline, Weta, DNEG Rodeo, and Crafty Apes for making the dream real. Couldn't have done it without them. Streaming 3rd, 1821, Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, and yes, Weta and these other people who have helped to bring this movie to life have been absolute heroes. There is no question about that. Absolutely fantastic. And I also want to pop over to Ray Fisher's social media just to talk about him as well. There is no question about it. Ray Fisher is the hugest, largest Zack Snyder loyalist there is. The relationship those two have together is brilliant. And even though at times I've been critical of Ray and how he's gone after his accountability over entertainment thing, he's an absolute legend for exposing Joss Whedon. And there's no question about that. And, you know, Joss Whedon would have got away with everything if it wasn't for that meddling Ray Fisher. He would have got away with everything if he never crossed paths with Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher is an icon. And whatever I've said, and sometimes I have disagreed with him, it doesn't mean I don't love the guy. And I am a fan of the guy. There's no question about that. You should never misunderstand, because we should all be able to give our opinions and disagree with each other without people thinking that you don't like them. Some of the stuff he said to support Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer yesterday. Zack Snyder's Justice League isn't a cul-de-sac. It's an 8-lane superhighway. Hashtag Snyder Cut. Absolutely, Ray. It is no cul-de-sac. Then there's an article that I'll be reading out shortly from Hollywood Reporter. Zack Snyder treats Ray Fisher's Cyborg in a way likely to resonate with fans of colour, writes Richard Newby. Interesting. He quote tweets, "The cut is justice." Hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League. The cut is justice. Absolutely. We go on. There's more. Ray Fisher probably fainted due to the excitement. Definitely fainted. Brilliant support. I want this jacket. He's wearing that jacket from the trailer. He says there were 2 that were used for the film. Production let me borrow the one pictured here. I may let you say again. It's the excitement. I may let you guys see it one day, but no touching. Do you remember when I used to say that? No touching. I don't do the touching. Is he stealing my tagline? Ray, you can steal anything you want from me. Brilliant support. And then the official Zack Snyder's Justice League Twitter account is doing a GIF from the trailer saying, "This world will fall. Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder Cut, Ray again, hashtag saying, we'll see about that." He then comments on Zack Snyder's Justice League official Twitter account saying, "Let's roll, hashtag the Snyder Cut." And then Ray Porter. Epic, beautiful. I'm just watching it again and again, like all of us, by the way. We live in a society. Hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League, Snyder Cut, Ray Fisher again, quote tweets, I still haven't blinked. Yeah, I don't think any of us have blinked, right? Just a little bit. Just brilliant. Ray Fisher retweeting Ray Porter again. Epic, beautiful. I'm just watching it again and again. We live in a society. He retweets the official Zack Snyder's Justice League account again. We live in a society where honour is a distant memory. Isn't that right, Batman? Yeah, and it just goes on and on. So absolutely beautiful. And one of the things I didn't mention yesterday, Zack introducing the trailer on Twitter was beautiful as well. I like the way he says Zack Snyder's Justice League as well. And so we are going to get into some articles here. And so I'm going to load up this Hollywood Reporter one, if I can find it again. Here we go. So while I'm doing that, I want to talk a bit about my channel and the way I've dealt with the trailer reaction. Listen, a few people saying, oh, why didn't you have the trailer on the side of you like other people do? Listen, you know me. You know that I have a very basic kind of setup here, so I can't do that. Also, I used to have trailers playing at the back. I got my videos deleted, so I won't be putting any copyrighted material on my videos anymore. But I don't think you're here for that. I don't think you're following me and supporting me because you want to see the garnish and the bells and whistles like the elite YouTubers do. You're here for my passion. You're here because you know I love DC and I love the Snyderverse. And I think you're also here because thoroughly I'm a fan of storytelling, films and filmmaking. And you love my insight and you know that I work in a very lower level in the entertainment industry as well here in Cyprus. So I think that we have a mutual respect. So I am a channel with a difference. And the very few people who support me, and I appreciate every single one of you, understand that. And I just wanted to get that out there because I do feel bad that I can't do what the elite YouTubers can do. But I still think my reaction was valid yesterday. It was a very messy reaction, let's be honest about it, because I was emotional. So at times I was lost for words. I was stuttering and stuff. So if that was a problem for you, I do apologise. But we're all excited, aren't we? We're not all fully kind of monitoring on full capacity. Anyway, let's read this brilliant Hollywood Reporter article. The revolution of the new Justice League trailer. For me today in this video and today's DCEU Daily is a celebration of what happened yesterday. 5 million views for this trailer, right? And by the way, before I get into all of this, let's talk about the Dirty Tricks campaign from WB Pictures. Not only do a lot of people suspect allegedly they were leaking stuff from the trailer, you know, forcing Zack to release the trailer early. And I don't know if that's true or not, so I can only allege that as can you. You've got to be very, very careful there. Also, Legendary and Warner Brothers Pictures released a brand new trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong. This was a very underhanded move. But let's be absolutely clear here. You, WB Pictures, could have dropped a 10-ton megaton bomb and you wouldn't have changed our trending. Our trending was so huge. We were so successful. There is nothing you can do to stop us. Now, in the old Time Warner days, WB Pictures were in charge. They were running the whole thing. WB Pictures cannot make any decisions on Zack Snyder's future anymore. It was Stanky and AT&T who made the decision to release Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, and it's Stanky and AT&T that will decide his fate. They are happy with Zack. They are happy with us. We are a team. We work with Stanky and we work with AT&T and we treat each other with respect. We will get exactly what we want. And that's all I have to say about that. The revolution of the new Justice League trailer. Zack Snyder treats Ray Fisher's Cyborg in a way likely to resonate with fans of colour. Writes Richard Newby, it's not just a desire to see ourselves in costume as heroes, but to see ourselves as heroes with respect, given to the fact of how we are treated differently, even with all of our power. I will say, though, to this, I've never seen any Greek Cypriots in a superhero costume, but I still love superheroes. Anyway, it's not a dream, it's not a hoax. Justice has finally been delivered. Oh, you've changed your tune, haven't you, Hollywood Reporter? On Sunday morning, HBO Max released the full trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League, the film that only a year ago many said didn't exist, including you, right? And even if it did, wouldn't be released. And And now, here we are, just a little over a month out from the release of the film that has been a passion project for both fans and the director himself. If there was any remaining notion among general audiences that the Snyder Cut was just a Studio Butcher 2017 film with some additional scenes, the full trailer dispels all of that. What we're getting a glimpse of is something that looks and feels entirely new and continues the themes of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel 2013 and Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice 2016. In a meaningful way, yes, it's a superhero film, but as someone who has only grown increasingly aware of his own race in his current climate, it feels like more than that. For as much criticism as Snyder has gotten for the perception of his films being dark and gritty, and I don't see that as a negative, by the way, it has felt to me since Man of Steel that the director was building to something honest and hopeful, examining the way in which we understand our own humanity, either by giving into fear or pushing past it. I'd argue that Zack Snyder's Justice League appears to be exactly the film we need right now. As America and the world grows more divided, if Man of Steel and BVS were 9/11 and post-9/11 metaphors, respectively, concerned with American xenophobia and right-wing solutions, then there was evidence by this latest trailer Justice League is exploring our contemporary situation. We've given into fear for too long. And let me just stop myself there for a minute and just say this. That is what Zack Snyder's Snyderverse is. It's superheroes in our divided, toxic times, and how Superman is rejected and how even Batman rejects Superman, but in the end embraces him. This is the story Snyder was even always telling, and that's fantastic, isn't it? And as a result, we let evil into our home. So how do we correct that? How do we answer for the mistakes and inadequacies of the past while preventing the future from fulfilling all of our worst nightmares? This is where we are socially and politically, but this is also where superheroes appear to be in this film. Despite those looming questions, there is a perversive sense of triumph throughout the new trailer, one that accounts for past tragedies following Bruce Wayne's optimistic final monologue from BVS. We can do better. We will. We have to. I feel like crying even reading it out. It's so good. Even as the world falls in disarray with the coming of Darkseid Ray Porter and the forces of Apocalypse led by Steppenwolf, Kieran Hines, there is a sense of grandeur and hope that comes with seeing DC Comics heroes Batman Affleck, Wonder Woman Gal Gadot, Aquaman Jason Momoa, Cyborg Ray Fisher, The Flash Ezra Miller, and of course Superman Henry Cavill, joined together to become something greater than they could be individually. What a great message. Richard Newby, you get it. You get it. All of a sudden, Access Media have come to the party. The only people who haven't come to the party are WP Pictures and other people in Access Media and people like Campia. But it doesn't matter what they say anymore. 5 million views tells you everything that you want to know. A brand new Kong versus Godzilla trailer that becomes invisible to the mainstream audience because they're too busy repeat watching Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut trailer. We've more than won. We have triumphed the first battle because the battle has been won, but the war is still ongoing. Anyway, the trailer, aided by Junkie XL's operatic score, beautiful by the way, entices audiences with the promise of an epic one that will both wax poetically about superheroes without our modern world and deliver a visual smorgasbord of action sequences, but action has meaning and our stories about superheroes cannot exist within a vacuum. For all of the anticipation that comes with seeing these heroes team up, it's their individual moments that this trailer focuses on, suggesting some major soul searching from the film's central characters following the death of Superman. This is very important to understand about Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. Each of these characters, demons, will have to be faced before they join this team and they can become effective members of this newly formed Justice League from Batfleck. This is the whole point. They have to defeat their demons. This is one of the reasons this film is so long. This is a very exciting element of this film I can't wait to see. Even with the little dialogue exchange between heroes, there is a subtext in the images on screen found. There is the suggestion of Wonder Woman confronting what her godhood means in the face of new gods, of Batman struggling to regain the honour he lost in a conversation with the Joker Jared Leto, of Superman learning to fly to new heights with the words of Jonathan Kent, Kevin Costner, I'm getting emotional again, guiding him, and Cyborg undergoing his own first flight with a match cut between he and Superman, suggesting that all of the characters Victor Stone may be closest to, the ideal of Superman and the idea of what it means to exist as a hero while being simultaneously othered by society, is that last point that really drives home the importance of this film's release for me, especially as someone who has always aligned Snyder's Superman in part with the black experience in America. To have an actual black character appear to carry that torch forward is not only significant, potentially revolutionary, because it's not just a desire to see ourselves in costumes as heroes, but to see ourselves as heroes with respect given to the fact of how we are treated differently, even with all of our power, how our voices take longer to be heard, and how our flight is a greater struggle because we're always starting on lower ground. And it's not just Cyborg's journey in these films that holds the promise of illuminating how we see ourselves. Members of the Justice League each take on a greater significance in regards to our current conversation surrounding inclusivity. The vast majority of fans of Snyder's DC films that I've encountered on social media and had genuine conversations with are not straight white males. When I saw the release of the Ultimate Edition of BVS, the majority of the audience was comprised of black people and women. These metrics mean something and too often go unacknowledged in favour of long-held personal biases. Listen, I don't want to get into these kind of alt-left kind of arguments because I am an Anglo and English Greek Cypriot who was born and bred in the UK. So am I a white male? I don't know if I'm classed as a white male, but if you are a white male, it's okay. If you're a white or black woman, it's okay. If you're Spanish or Portuguese, it's okay, right? All individuals in the history of humanity want to be heard. We're all shouting on social media for some attention. Now, I understand that people of colour have been treated terribly in history and we're all trying to be better. So I don't really want to get into these things and I don't really want to diminish. I don't want to raise up one race and diminish another race. And I think when you say something like, oh, the people I've experienced are women and men of colour rather than white males, it's like white males are the enemies, you know. And no one's the enemy. We're just all individuals. We're not in groups. Anyway, I thought I'd say that. These are superheroes with writ large within our current considerations of politics, social justice, race and theology. It is those moments that fans of Snyder's DC films, particularly those who have been marginalised, have come to expect. It is for those moments that Release the Snyder Cut ever became a thing in the first place. When you cut through all the noise and antagonism created by those so fervently against the film, they entered the realm of fabrication and cruelty. This is a great point, Richard. And those so fixated upon the film's release, they've become just as cruel, no longer upholding the values of the heroes they claim to love. What a brilliant point. When you get past all of that, you have a story about incredible individuals simply trying to be better. What could be more human? What could be more optimistic? I'll be the first to admit that I've been disturbed by both vicious personal attacks on the filmmaker from bloggers and the cult-like behaviour from fans who have turned to harassment again and again. There's two sides to this, and we have to be honest here, and I've said this before, the cult-like behaviour, I mean, I think we're a family, aren't we? I mean, I love DC all round. I love the other DC movies. They're not Snyderverse movies as well. But I think us people who support the Snyderverse, we see ourselves as part of a family, not part of a cult. Now, sometimes people have strayed the line, and that's wrong. And I've had consequences to that, being attacked sometimes, and sometimes I've gone too far as well. But I don't think that makes us bad people. I think it just makes us people maybe who think before we speak. In the fact of all of that, the release of this film feels like an opportunity to take a step back. Remember why we love these characters and understand that though we may not all love them in the same way, that's okay. There's value in that. There's value in the perspective that Snyder is offering with these characters, and there's value in listening to people whose considerations on these films don't come from the loudest and most traditional voices of comic book fandom. This doesn't feel like just another superhero movie, and that's because it isn't. It's a journey, one that many have followed both on screen and behind the scenes, and have seen themselves in. Whether Zack Snyder's Justice League marks the end of that journey or not remains to be seen. But the fact that they happened at all feels like a burst of hope in a world that calls could use more of it. I'll say that again. But the fact that it happened at all feels like a burst of hope in a world that could use more of it. Yeah, a brilliant article by Richard Newby, and I agree with most of that. It was beautiful. And again, it's an article to celebrate, isn't it? The representation in the Snyderverse and the inclusivity. There's so many different people of shapes and sizes and genders and races. It's a beautiful thing. And it's only a thing to celebrate. This is a victory. This is a moral victory that we won. But the battle has only just begun. As we all know, I'm not very good at trailer breakdowns or movie breakdowns, as we saw from my trailer reaction yesterday. But we've got Stephen Colbert to help us from Screen Rant. Isn't that brilliant? Correction, Stephen M. Colbert. So this is from Screen Rant, Justice League trailer breakdown in every new Snyder Cut scene. So let's talk about this. Zack Snyder's Justice League's full trailer includes Joker, Darkseid, more history lesson, the Nightmare Future, and more teases for the 4-hour epic. The newest trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League reveals the truly epic scope of the Snyder Cut of Justice League, including more Darkseid and the first reveal of Jared Leto's Joker, along with other major story elements like the Nightmare Future. The trailer isn't only a massive tease of what's to come when the movie hits HBO Max, but a fascinating look at some of the baffling changes made to the film when Joss Whedon brought it to the screen in 2017, absolutely. The Snyder Cut was widely considered an internet myth for nearly 3 years, despite clear evidence of its existence, until it was finally confirmed for release on HBO Max in May 2020. Snyder completed 100% of principal photography in 2016, along with several months of post-production, including a significant amount of VFX, but there was still work to be done on his version, since the Whedon written and directing reshoots took the movie in a massively different direction, abandoning most of what Snyder was building toward. Now, thanks to an extra $70 million and some additional photography to complete his original vision, including the reversion of a few compromises made before his exit, such as the change in Steppenwolf's design and a few minutes of additional footage and addition of Jared Leto's Joker. The Snyder Cut is arriving on March the 18th, and it's fair to say it's the most massive DC movie ever made. Here's the biggest reveals from the newest trailer. The bell's been rung. Superman is dead. The trailer's very first shot is also from the beginning of the movie, revisiting Superman's death from Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice in the same way Batman v Superman revisited Metropolis battle from Man of Steel from Bruce Wayne's perspective. That's a great point, by the way, yeah. And this is the continuity and the connective tissue that Snyder's movies have always had in the Snyderverse of DC, which is great. Superman revisited Metropolis battle from Man of Steel from Bruce Wayne's perspective. This shot is paired with an edit of Lex Luthor's Batman v Superman monologue saying the bell's been rung out in the dark among the stars. The god is dead. The context of that line's original delivery in Batman v Superman was after Lex Luthor had communed with Steppenwolf, meaning Darkseid knows Earth is ripe for the taking. In the shot of Superman, we see the literal waves created by his death screen going out across the world, activating the dormant mother boxes, triggering the eventual invasion by Steppenwolf. This is great. How does this invasion happen? Well, it's not just that Luthor was convening with Steppenwolf, and Darkseid was obviously able to kind of convey that to Darkseid, but it's the death screens from Superman that activate the mother boxes. Isn't that a really clever thing of Zack to do? He's such a clever storyteller. Hippolyta and Themyscira. While she didn't have much presence in the 2017 version, Connie Nielsen's Hippolyta has a more substantial role in the Snyder Cut, but in the history lesson as well as on Themyscira. When she's first revealed, she's standing on the edge of a cliff as the building that housed the Amazon mother box tumbles into the ocean, likely following the Amazon battle with Steppenwolf, where he steals the box and escapes. Batman's nightmare dream about the end of the world. The trailer moves from Lex Luthor to Bruce Wayne saying, "I had a dream," almost like a premonition, with new footage of Batman in his trench coat from the Nightmare Future, first glimpse in Batman v Superman. The Nightmare World was one of the biggest things cut from Zack Snyder's original vision for Justice League and was a major part of his overall Justice League plan. So expect this part of the story to play a major influence on the movie, I do. The trailer includes a number of shots of Batman in the Nightmare, along with Ray Fisher's Cyborg and another character we'll talk about in a later section. The idea of the Nightmare is to show the consequences of the losses experienced by Superman and how he's important not just as a physical hero to fight off bad guys, but also as a symbol of inspiration. If you lose that symbol, or it's twisted to nefarious means, as Jonathan Kent says in Man of Steel, whoever that man is, good character or bad, is going to change the world. And what great deep words they were, even back then, before we knew of Snyder's and Terrio's plans. There's an attack coming from far away, but it already happened once. As we've seen teased a few times, Wonder Woman's connection to all these events is far more significant than it was in the 2017 Joss Whedon version of the movie. In Whedon's release, Wonder Woman saw Hippolyta's arrow on TV, and that was it. However, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, it actually takes her to a shrine of the Amazons, where she discovers a mural telling the story of the last time Darkseid tried to invade. In this history lesson, we'll see Darkseid attempting to unleash the anti-life equation, but Amazons, Atlanteans, the tribes of men, a Green Lantern, Greek gods banded together to push him back, including a showdown between Ares, the god of war, and Darkseid himself. I cannot wait to see this properly. Darkseid, the forces of Apocalypse. And I think this is a great this image of the trailer as well. I love it. Just the scope of Apocalypse there, just to see what these heroes are up against is fantastic. Darkseid is coming. It's been known for years that Darkseid's had a role in Snyder's original Justice League vision, but the extent of that role has only become more significant with time. Once thought to be a simple tease of a villain to come, it's clear now he has a looming presence, possibly akin to Sauron in Lord of the Rings, only even more significant as he's actually personified and given proper dialogue voiced by Ray Porter, which we have yet to hear. And people keep on making big comparisons to Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut to Lord of the Rings. The scope of this film is very similar to what you saw in the 6 of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies, and I just can't wait to see this. And this is why I think we're going to get more, because people are coming to the Snyder plate, to the Snyder party. They're starting to understand what the man was attempting to do. And he was trying to do a Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings superhero franchise series. And who wouldn't want to see that? I want to see more of it. Not only is Darkseid in the movie, but he's flanked by the other new gods of Apocalypse. His matter torturer Desaad, and the leader of Darkseid's elites and Fury's Granny Goodness. This brings the massive fourth world of Jack Kirby to the big screen in a big way. Also, it should be noted this movie was supposed to come out around 5 months before Avengers Infinity War, which introduced the Darkseid-inspired Thanos. That's interesting. We were supposed to see that first. That says a lot, doesn't it? Steppenwolf promises this world will fall. Steppenwolf promises that this world will fall was present in the original marketing campaign, but since the line was a message from him to Darkseid, as we see in this newest trailer, it obviously got lost along with Darkseid. While Darkseid is a looming villain, Steppenwolf is ultimately the immediate threat to the world. This extra backstory and new original character design immediately gives Steppenwolf more weight as a character and establishes some motivation, which was entirely absent in 2017. We see several shots of Darkseid's general and his charged electro-axe spitting real lightning instead of the light trail from 2017, wreaking havoc on Amazons, the Justice League. As a villain, he's certainly a much more violent, menacing force, and it's clear why the Justice League needs to band together and try to bring Superman back from the dead to take him down. Steppenwolf decimates the Amazons on Themyscira. While the scene of Steppenwolf invading Themyscira and stealing the Mother Box is in Joss Whedon's 2017 theatrical cut, the changes are abundantly obvious. Steppenwolf's improved design and the brutality of the Electrax makes him a menacing force. The brief black and white clip Snyder previously shared of this scene shows it will certainly be more violent, including some 300-esque blood spurts, which is likely partly responsible for the movie's R rating. Bring it on! Squirt that blood in my face, baby! Batman needs warriors, like Aquaman. Bruce Wayne goes on a hunt for more powerful individuals to form an alliance of warriors to defend the world from the attack he fears is coming. One of the first people he approaches is Arthur Curry, aka the Aquaman. This new shot of Aquaman is taken from his confrontation with Steppenwolf when the villain attempts to take the Atlantean mother box from Mira. We know there's much more of the Atlanteans, but likely not Atlantis itself in this version of the movie, including a William Dafoe's voco and an explanation for how Aquaman gets his armor and trident. Cyborg gets more weapons in The Nightmare. This looks great, my friends. Doesn't this look freaking great? This is a brilliant upgrade. So let's give this a read. Despite getting teased in trailers and merchandise, Cyborg's ability to manifest weapons or even additional arms wasn't utilised in the theatrical cut. Based on the post-apocalyptic destruction and the gold hue of the background, this appears to be a nightmare scene. If you can't bring down the ball, don't wave the red cape. Brilliant stuff. Well written. What brilliant dialogue by Chris Terrio and Zack Snyder here. So brilliantly performed by Jeremy Irons as well. Love him. Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice writer Chris Terrio used a lot of creative wordplay, especially with Lex Luthor and Alfred. And this makes a big appearance in the Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer when Alfred says, if you can't bring down the charging ball, you don't wave the red cape at it. Great advice, Alfred, which not only works as a standalone metaphor, but also serves as a warning about bringing back Superman, the red cape, to take on Steppenwolf, the bull. Barry Allen saves Iris West. One of the earliest leaks following the theatrical cut was a few scenes with incomplete CGI, including this shot of Ezra Miller's Barry Allen in his early days as the Flash saving Kiersey Clemons' Iris West. While the scene itself certainly isn't new to anyone who's been following the Snyder Cut for 3 years, seeing it with finished VFX in a major trailer is still a big moment. Couldn't agree more. Can't wait to see her. I've got a lot of time for Kiersey. I follow her on Instagram, by the way. She's a great kid. Superman was sent to Earth for a reason. Jonathan Kent's message to Superman from Man of Steel saying, you were sent for a reason, and even if it takes you the rest of your life to find out what that reason is, makes a noticeable appearance as Superman takes a pose calling back to his first flight in Man of Steel. The urge for him to take the rest of his life to figure it out is especially notable considering he's dead when the movie starts. Zack Snyder's Justice League plans were ultimately an extension of his Superman story. The whole arc, while it includes notable roles, multiple Justice League characters, ultimately served as an explanation of why Superman is the most important superhero, which is exactly what Pa Kent told him as a kid, and what he now needs to find that he's resurrected. He tells Lois Lane she's his world in Batman v Superman, and we notably see a shot of her when Jonathan Kent says, find out what that reason is. But in the BVS Nightmare, he tells Batman, she was my world, and you took her from me. Meaning the nightmare, the destruction of the whole, is what happens when Superman loses his purpose. Zack Snyder has said multiple times, since even before he originally left the project in 2017, that Ray Fisher's Cyborg, Victor Stone, is the heart of the movie. Ray Fisher has also revealed that only Cyborg scenes in the 2017 film that weren't originally shot by Snyder was part of the Gotham Police rooftop scene, so we can expect a massively new focus on Cyborg. The most notable moment here is a visual cut from Superman's ascension in the black suit to Cyborg taking flight like Superman. Victor Stone also has powers he needs to understand, and he also needs to find his purpose. One major difference, however, is Cyborg already had a purpose as a football star, and that was taken from him. While Superman is an alien seeking his place in the world, Cyborg is a human who has lost his place in the world, and Zack Snyder's Justice League will be about him finding that place again. This particular shot in the trailer is of Victor Stone and his ideal self in some sort of digital world, either hacking a mother box or tapping into computer systems around the world. Audiences may have just gotten a taste of some Amazon action at the end of 2020 with Wonder Woman 1984, but the Snyder Cut is bringing even more. The Amazons play a key role in the massive history lesson battle against Darkseid and his parademons, but we also know they have a second major battle in Themyscira when Steppenwolf invades. Considering audience sentiment following Wonder Woman 1984 indicated they wanted more Amazons and more Themyscira, the 4-hour-long Zack Snyder's Justice League should provide that and more. Batman has a war machine. So awesome to integrate this from The Dark Knight Returns. Again, nobody had a clue this was happening. And by the way, before we continue, if you think you know what's going to happen in Zack Snyder's Justice League, if you think that it's just a bog-standard Justice League movie, superhero movie, if you think there's no more twists, turns or secrets to discover, you're wrong. We have no idea what we're about to see in 4 hours of movie footage. Fans of Frank Miller's classic Dark Knight Returns, which largely inspired Ben Affleck's take on Batman, should be more than thrilled at the tease of the tank-like Batmobile known as the War Machine, seemingly ripped straight out of the pages of the comics. The most fascinating part of this shot is it doesn't fit any clear point in the movie. There's destruction all around and what appears to be apocalyptic structures in the background, which would imply it's the third act battle in Russia. But Batman's suit doesn't look like the tactical suit from that scene. The only other clear possibility is the Nightmare, where the other, over-the-top War Machine seems like it would feel right at home. That's a good point, Stephen. However, Batman also isn't wearing his Nightmare trench coat. While a lot of details about this movie are already known, the fact that there are still massive surprises like this in store should have audiences excited for what's buried in the full 4 hours of final product. And I've been saying this all along. The Flash time travels to reverse an explosion. During the final battle, the Flash is expected to channel the Speed Force to turn back time. And we see that represented with a massive explosion as Flash runs towards the explosion. We can see the ground reassembling itself in front of him as the explosion ahead slowly recedes, with plenty of Zack Snyder slow motion effects thrown in for good measure. I don't normally like slow motion, but the way Zack does it, it's so beautiful and I love it. Cyborg interfaces with the mother boxes. Cyborg's role is so much more important in Zack Snyder's Justice League, specifically because the only way they can possibly win is because he has the ability to interface with the mother boxes to prevent them from destroying the world. And that ability comes from his enhanced cybernetics, which are a product of a mother box. In this scene, he's expected to actually go inside the mother box where we'll see him tempted with visions of his family and a promise to be made whole again. This is fantastic. I keep on saying this. I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see that. I definitely can't wait to see that. Zack Snyder and Jared Leto's Joker embraces the meme head on in the character's reveal, where we hear Leto say, highly memed, "We live in a society." Now, I didn't even know about that actual phrase before I heard it, so it didn't have any meaning to me. I was just happy to see Leto as Joker. So we live in a society before we even see his face. Leto's Joker is one of the things added in the 4 or 5 minutes of additional photography Snyder conducted in October 2020, as opposed to the 3.5 hours of unseen footage he shot in 2016, and is also one of the movie's most exciting factors. There's so many it's all exciting, isn't it? Joker's full line is, "We live in a society where honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right, Batman?" Considering this is a confrontation between Batman and Joker in the nightmare future, where the Dark Knight might even be teaming up with the Clown Prince of Crime, a future where Batman carries a gun, Joker's line is surely taking a dig at Batman's change in principles following the collapse of society. And it's a great piece of dialogue. And that was a great article. And basically, Stephen M. Colbert does something that I can't do, which is remember stuff after I've seen it. Of course, I remember a movie or a trailer. I just don't remember the finite details. I don't know what's wrong with me. It must be old age or something. So it was great to read that article from Stephen, and I'm very grateful for him to that. So the trailer is amazing. The sense of anticipation, the sense of excitement is inside me, and I know it's inside you. This is actually something I really wanted to speak about in the previous edition of the DCEU Daily, and by the time I complete the video, I forgot to talk about this. Justice League Snyder Cut opening scene features Lex Luthor and Steppenwolf. I was very interested and excited about this, but is this footage of what happened in BVS, I wonder? Anyway, let's have a look. Director Zack Snyder reveals what his opening scene of HBO Max's Justice League is saying, that it will feature both Lex Luthor and Steppenwolf by Anna Dummer. I can't read that surname, I'm sorry, Anna. Zack Snyder's Justice League opening will feature an appearance from Lex Luthor and Steppenwolf, set to debut on HBO Max in March. The project will finally give fans a much-clamoured Snyder Cut of the 2017 DCEU film. When Snyder was tapped to launch Warner Bros.' own interconnected superhero franchise, he plotted a 5-part DCEU arc that would supposedly wrap up with Justice League 3. However, after the divisive response to both Man of Steel and Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, the studio became more involved in the production of Justice League. Among some of their mandates include a 2-hour restrictive runtime and a lighter narrative. In conjunction, Snyder suffered a family tragedy resulting in his departure and the entry of interim filmmaker Joss Whedon, which made it much easier for Warner Bros. To creatively control the movie. Now, however, the public is finally getting the intended narrative for the blockbuster through a streaming project. As the release of the new Justice League nears, Snyder has been doing the rounds to promote it. Recently, he was interviewed on I'm Minuteman and shared what to expect from the movie's opening scene. The filmmaker detailed how it would play out, confirming that the sequence will feature a scene with Lex and Steppenwolf. Read his full statement below. This is the beginning of the movie. You see Superman. We go through this, all the lightning, the kind of orange lightning that comes off of Doomsday. You know when he's Yah. There was also some sort of gravity issue, like these rocks were floating, all sorts of things were happening. Then we see, as we drive in, that Superman there, as we drive in, that he's pulling the bone fragment out of Superman's chest. And he cries out. Now, this is what we saw in the beginning of the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. Now, if you notice also in BVS, there's a very audible cry. You can hear it's Superman's cry now. The cry goes across. This is Heroes Park. This is the containment center where Lex is. And then you see Lex communing with Steppenwolf. And then this is Cyborg. He's in his apartment. And you see the push in on the closet. And then you see some football trophy. So this is basically the start of the film. Very interesting, can't wait. This is the new opening. This new opening is a massive change to what fans saw in the Justice League theatrical cut, which featured a shaky video of Superman during one of his missions before his death in Batman v Superman. The idea behind it was to establish how good he is, and the world is in mourning following his heroic demise, as seen in the subsequent scene. However, due to Henry Cavill's moustache controversy, the hero looked really odd during this introduction. Eventually, this look became an indicator when deciphering which shots were filmed by Snyder and which ones were done through reshoots by Whedon. Aside from changing that bizarre opening sequence from Justice League, the theatrical cut, it also firmly connects this new project with Batman v Superman by showing the Man of Steel's death during its final battle against Doomsday. The ensemble project was technically the direct sequel to Snyder's 2016 film, despite Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman releasing in between. Now, this is actually an interesting point before we leave this article, before I finish reading it. Before I watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, I'm actually going to, this is how I'm going to build up to it. I might have mentioned it before, I mentioned it again. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this, but I think, I think this is the way to do it. Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, and Wonder Woman. For me, all those films are part of the Snyderverse. Snyder was involved with Suicide Squad in a big way. But let me just try and explain it to you. Even though the air cut has been tampered with, it's really still part of Snyder's kind of arc, if you like. We see Batman. We hear Superman's name dropped and Superman's death mentioned. So it's very important to what happens in Zack Snyder's Justice League part, including we'll see Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad, which is important for Zack Snyder's Justice League as well. So this is why I'm building up to Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut in that way. I think it'll be more interesting. For me personally, I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's what I'm going to do. So basically, they finished the Arctic Warfare sequel, Snyder's 2016 film, despite Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman releasing in between the blockbusters. While this HBO Max project isn't necessarily canon, with no plans for a sequel, for now a proper through line between Snyder's DCEU projects is still something his fans would appreciate. We will get more, no matter what anyone says. We are going to get more, but we can't be complacent. Keep fighting, everyone. Oh my God, I've been rabbiting on for over 45 minutes now. I'm sorry about that. And anyone who stayed for the entire 45 minutes, I love you. Justice League Snyder Cut won't have a lot of jokes. So this is our final article today, my final part of the DCEU Daily today. So hang around for this. Zack Snyder confirms that Justice League Snyder Cut won't include as many jokes as Joss Whedon's pan-theatrical cut of the movie by Dusty Stowe. Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League will feature fewer jokes than Joss Whedon's theatrical cut. The director has confirmed Justice League was supposed to be DC's answer to the Avengers, an epic team-up film featuring Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash and others, taking on the forces of a cop apocalypse. But after the underwhelming fan reaction and box office returns that greeted Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, Snyder was eventually replaced as director by Joss Whedon, who had previously helmed the two Avengers films. Whedon's cut of the film pleased essentially nobody, as it attempted to mesh the two directors' styles to poor effect. The Marvel Cinematic Universe's rather pronounced sense of humour was on hand in Whedon's cut of the films, though it largely fell flat and fell out of step with what had come earlier in the DC Extended Universe. Snyder is getting a chance to realise his vision of the film as a massive 4-hour cut. It's coming to HBO Max next month. Snyder has confirmed via his Vero account that his cut of the film will be light on jokes, as most expected. When asked if Bruce will crack jokes with Aquaman like, "I hear you talk to fish," Snyder just replied, "Not a lot of jokes." Yeah, listen. Whedon has come under fire for his behaviour on the set of Justice League, most notably from Cyborg actor Ray Fisher, who has accused Whedon of creating a toxic work environment. In recent days, those accusations have gained veracity as the stars of Whedon's previous TV shows Buffy and Angel have come forward with similar accusations, including some truly horrific comments Whedon allegedly made to Charisma Carpenter about her pregnancy during Angel's 4th season. Beyond Whedon's lousy behaviour, he and Snyder could not be much more different as filmmakers. Snyder is known for his visual flair and dark, serious storytelling style, while Whedon is known for having a lighter touch and a less cinematic style, owing to his roots in television. The idea of an overly jokey Zack Snyder movie seems like a contradiction in terms, but there's another big difference between Zack and Joss Whedon. Zack Snyder is a gentle, compassionate man who treats all his cast and crew with respect, and that is the biggest difference of all, my friends. Justice League had an unbelievable journey up to this point. After its spectacular failure at the box office, an unprecedented fan campaign on social media kickstarted this idea of allowing Snyder to finish his version of the film, and it's miraculously come to pass. It still remains to be seen if Snyder's cut will be an improvement. Now, if you've seen the trailer, no, we know! Of course it's a fucking improvement! How can you even say that? To this point, after this spectacular failure at the box, an unprecedented fan campaign on social media kickstarted the idea of allowing Snyder to finish his version of the film, and it's miraculously come to pass. It still remains to be seen if Snyder's cut will be an improvement. It already has an uphill battle with critics and many fans after the polarising nature of his previous films in the DCEU, but at the very least, it won't be a film compromised by studio meddling and poor management decisions. This will be the pure, uncut Zack Snyder version of the film, for better or for worse. Right, so summing up today, because we're nearly at 50 minutes now, but summing up today, nobody gives look, John Stankey and AT&T will not give a shit about critics' reactions. All that Stankey's going to care about is Twitter being dominated by DC and Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut? Yes, and even more when this film is released. This is how huge it's going to hit. That's all Stanky cares about. It doesn't matter. We live in a different world than we did in 2016. Nobody cares what critics say anymore. They are irrelevant. They are just bought and paid for people that you don't need to buy and pay for anymore. Forget them. In terms of fans, if you like Man of Steel and BVS, you're going to love this fucking film. But I think it goes beyond that. People, other DC fans and mainstream audiences are going to come to the plate. They're going to realise the story he was trying to tell in this film. Because Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut will explain everything you've already seen in the two movies if you didn't get it. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League in the Snyderverse is going to win a lot of fans over. It already is, everybody. It already is. So what a beautiful time to be alive. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of the Snyderverse family, the DC Snyderverse family, for what we've all achieved together. Yesterday was a beautiful day, or whenever you're watching this, I don't know. It was yesterday for me. But listen, I'm so proud, and I just can't wait to see Zack Snyder's Justice League. Comment down below, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. I hope you had a good time, because I did. See you again soon.